Nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First rate podcast as well. Of course, Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hey everyone, welcome to this new segment of the Managing Madrid Podcast. This is Lucas Navarrete, your host. From now on, this is going to be a segment I do on the morning after each and every single Real Madrid game. Our plan right now, I believe, is to use the Patreon subscriptions and memberships to take advantage of these shows. We'll see about that. This one obviously is free since it's the first episode, and again we'll see how this goes. I'm trying to find the proper here it is, the proper stage, the proper layout for myself. Hello everyone on chat. Hello Lex, hello Assad, hello Ural. I see that you are obviously in the other half of the world where you're not sleeping just yet. It's obviously, this show is planned to come up and to be uploaded in the AM for the US based people. But obviously, those of you who are living elsewhere will obviously be able to listen to those. Again, I talked about this segment with Kijam. We both liked the potential of and the possibility of me again doing these short, brief episodes, 15-20 minutes range, so that people could have my thoughts about the morning after, about each and every single Real Madrid game, at least until the very end of the season. Hopefully you guys like the segment, and we'll see about that. Again, if you missed what I said earlier, our plan right now, everything is on hold for that, and we'll still have to figure that out. But our plan is to make this a members-only show. We'll see. Again, we'll see about that. Maybe for the first few episodes, we'll keep them free. Definitely, obviously, this one, and maybe also for the morning after the Arsenal game, which will come to you on Wednesday. Anyway, Real Madrid lost 1-2 against Valencia yesterday. I don't know how you guys feel about this game. I'm pretty frustrated, as I'm certain that most of my friends are also frustrated here most of my Madridistas friends who live here in Valencia are very frustrated about the fact that Real Madrid cannot seem to be able to beat Valencia twice every single season, right? Some shocking thoughts about the game, some shocking facts about the game. Okay, here they come. Valencia forced 3 yellow cards on their previous game for Gaya, Fulquier, and who was the other player? Let me check it just really, really quick. But anyway, they forced yellow cards for 3 of their starters in the previous game, in order for them those starters to rest against Real Madrid. They pretty much thought, and they pretty much anticipated a loss in this visit to the Bernabeu. That's one shocking fact, in my opinion. It's extremely surprising and frustrating to me is to see that a Real Madrid team with Mbappe, with Vinicius, with Rudiger, so many big stars in international football, cannot beat Valencia at home, even when Valencia are actually resting some of the starters. Valencia seem to actually give up about this game again a week ahead of it. Fulquier, Rioja, and Gaya, exactly, those three. Extremely frustrating for me to see that Real Madrid cannot earn the 3 points against this Valencia squad. And another shocking fact about this game, about this Valencia team Real Madrid were facing, is the fact that this is Valencia's only away win of the season, of the La Liga season. They beat, I believe it was Mirandés or any other Segunda División B team in the Copa del Rey, for sure, away. But in terms of La Liga, of the 15 matches played so far, Valencia away from Mestalla, they've played, they have a record of 1 win, 7 draws, and 7 losses. And the one and only win of the season has come at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. I'm at a loss of words, really. This is quite ridiculous for me, in my opinion. I've seen and obviously listened to Ancelotti's quotes after the game saying that Real Madrid did not deserve to lose this match. I kind of disagree. Maybe you can argue that a draw would have been fair, but I did not see Real Madrid performing at a high level to earn the 3 points in this game. I tweeted, my one and only tweet after this loss was that I actually think and believe that Real Madrid have been waiting to drop points in La Liga for a few weeks, really, just to have kind of an excuse and the opportunity to rest on the weekends as they prioritize the Champions League and the Copa del Rey final, or the semifinals in this case, if we're talking, this happening weeks prior. I find it quite ridiculous for a team with this kind of potential, even though obviously lack of depth has been an issue this year. I still believe that if that were the case, I find it ridiculous and extremely frustrated. But yeah, I see that it's a common point right now here in chat. Oral believes that the players just don't care about La Liga. Jude, Fede, and Mbappe exceptions he mentions. I agree. Those three are quite possibly my most highlighted players yesterday and even in previous games, but it's been an issue. Care and professionalism has been an issue in La Liga so far this year, and this is why I believe that ultimately the team has been kind of waiting to drop some points here and there and not playing with a lot of intensity in La Liga in order to have this opportunity to kind of throw away the competition and just prioritize and focus on some other stuff, which is again extremely frustrating in my opinion, because La Liga has to be, we talked about this with Kian on Friday's mailbag. I feel like La Liga has to be your bread and butter ultimately. It's what gives fans excitement, in the sense that there's a La Liga game every weekend, and the Champions League and the Copa del Rey sometimes have these breaks and these hiatus where you are not watching your team play. La Liga has to be your bread and butter, man. It has to bring you that level of consistency and that level of excitement if you're a regular fan of the club. And seeing the team playing with this lack of passion, this lack of intensity, this lack of fire, and this lack of ultimate care and professionalism is extremely, extremely frustrating in La Liga. Even, I actually found the race for La Liga to be extremely difficult, just because of the fact that Barcelona are playing, I believe it's like 70 or 75% of their remaining games at Montjuic, because they asked and requested permission from La Liga to schedule this season that way in order for the Camp Nou to be finished, the renovations at the Camp Nou to be finished by now. It's obviously, we're still months away from that happening. So they are very, very they have the opportunity to play many home games before the end of the season, so they should take advantage of that, even though they didn't against Betis last night. They drew against Betis, and this ultimately opens the door a little bit more for Real Madrid to still compete for the title, considering that there's a Clásico still to be played. Anyway, that there's that. My frustration about Real Madrid's current situation in La Liga. I believe my next talking point here in the like show notes is Ceballos. I believe Ceballos' injury has hurt Real Madrid's overall performances and playing, and ultimately, yeah, the caliber and the level of the team. Ancelotti seemed to have found a solution to the team's issues, which was Ceballos. I felt it that way, and I discussed this with Kian during the last few weeks where Ceballos was healthy. That Ancelotti had found his midfield. Even I felt that Ceballos and Tchouaméni had been playing quite comfortably together. They were mixing well. They knew what each of them had to do on the field. So I believe that was Ancelotti's go-to midfield for the remainder of the season. And the moment Ceballos got injured, it kind of took away this opportunity to play his best available lineup for Ancelotti. This has hurt Real Madrid immensely. I feel like Real Madrid have been underperforming and underachieving since Ceballos' injury. Obviously, they survived against Atletico de Madrid, advanced to the next round, which is great. Also, I feel Ceballos actually played the return leg against Manchester City, I believe. But yeah, they survived against Atletico. Survive, I believe, is the right word. The performance in those two games was nothing to be too excited about. The first one was more than okay. You should have probably create a bigger lead. But anyway, I'm fine with those performances. It wasn't that Real Madrid played terribly in those two games. Overall, Atletico are obviously a very tough opponent for Real Madrid anyway. But yeah, Real Madrid, I feel like Real Madrid are just managing and treading water without Ceballos. Good news is that Ceballos is about to come back. He's not likely to play against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium this Tuesday, but he should probably be okay to maybe even start in the return leg against Arsenal. That should give you some hope about the team finding and clicking where they need to click most, which is in the midfield, in my opinion. The defensive line has been a huge issue, but we knew about this as soon as Real Madrid refused to make any reinforcements during the winter transfer window. So we knew about this happening. Real Madrid just need to find a way to survive in the midfield, the goalkeeper spot, and also the attacking line, because the defensive line isn't going to be there consistently. You're forced to play Lucas Vázquez in at least half of your games. At least Ancelotti feels that way, because he's still prioritizing Lucas Vázquez and not starting Valverde there. Obviously, you cannot play Valverde every single game in that spot. Also, you need to give your midfielders some rest and all that. But yeah, it's extremely frustrating seeing that Ceballos' injury has hurt Real Madrid so much, mainly because I feel like Real Madrid were not counting on Ceballos to be this relevant and this important this year, right? So Real Madrid found some gold and some money with Ceballos' performances. Hopefully, he doesn't need a lot of time to improve his form, his conditioning after this somewhat long recovery period, right? I mean, he's missed around a month and a half, maybe. He obviously maybe has lost some momentum, some form, and some of his confidence. Hopefully, he doesn't need a lot of time to bring that back, the kind of performance we were getting from Ceballos before of his injury. We've talked about next segment of this show notes here. We talked about this with Kian on Friday. Real Madrid have been underperforming and underachieving for the entire season in terms of the way they play with the quality of the players they have. And this is extremely frustrating for me as a as a Real Madrid fan, as a Real Madrid journalist, even the fact that having to sit through these games, seeing the potential this team has on the field. I mean, the quality of the players is astonishing, really. You have Mbappe, Vinicius, Bellingham. You have Courtois as a goalkeeper. You should be getting more from Chouameni, from Camavinga, because those two are highly coveted players, exciting players with a lot of potential. Valverde, obviously, another extremely great player who should again, you put those players on the field, and the end product you should be getting is definitely better than what we're seeing right now. And this is why I also believe, I think Kian agrees with me, even Leah, I believe, agrees with me, that Ancelotti should probably be gone by the end of the season. I don't care even if Real Madrid managed to win the Champions League and the Copa del Rey. What I'm seeing on a week-to-week basis is not enough for a club with this caliber of players. And I acknowledge that Florentino isn't going to sack Ancelotti if Real Madrid win another Champions League title. This is just not going to happen. So I'm not saying that you should be rooting against Real Madrid in the Champions League. I would never suggest that. On the other hand, the one and only way Real Madrid are going to sack Ancelotti is if the team also falls short in the Champions League and in La Liga. We'll see how that goes. But this has been an issue all season long. I don't know if Ancelotti has lost some of his voice inside the dressing room, but I need someone who can make the players play with and perform with professionalism, with care, with intensity, and with physicality, and just impose their will against Valencia, bro. Just it's that simple, man. Just play better, dominate Valencia at home. Valencia have been underperforming away from Mestalla all year long. This is the one and only win away from Mestalla, bro. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. The fact that Real Madrid cannot get a dominating performance against this Valencia team, who again, a week ahead of the game, decided to force 3 yellow cards to some key starters in order for them to get some rest against Madrid, because they probably thought that they had no chance of competing and stealing this way from the Bernabeu. Extremely disappointing. Mbappe, one and only bright spot maybe from Real Madrid last night. In terms of pure excitement about his performance, he tried really hard, which is great to see. Ultimately couldn't rescue Madrid from this overall poor performance. I also read one of Kian's tweets saying that, Real Madrid and pretty much every single team should give the penalties to whoever is more likely to score, not to the ones who are struggling. Vinicius has been struggling in recent months. Why should he take the penalty? It should not be a given that he's going to score a penalty, even now that he's struggling. So Mbappe didn't have the opportunity to take the penalty, and Vinicius did, in order to maybe improve his confidence, his momentum, his form, which is needed. But I feel like he wasn't the right man for the job and for taking this penalty. And Sar says on chat, how was Mbappe bright when he missed 6 chances yesterday? The fact that he missed 6 chances means that he was there to take advantage of them, and I thought he played with care, with intensity, with passion, trying to carry Real Madrid forward, trying to lead Real Madrid towards a win. And I cannot say the same thing about his teammates. I'm not saying Mbappe was an A+ in this game, by no means. I'm just saying that he was quite possibly the one and only player I can find on this Real Madrid squad that took the field yesterday that actually tried to lead Real Madrid towards a win. The rest of them were just like sleepwalking. I don't know if it was the early kickoff. It was 4 p.m. here in Spain. I don't know what was. I don't know if it was my La Liga theory I just talked about. Whatever it was, Mbappe was the one and only player who I could say, okay, he's bringing the energy, he's bringing the passion, he's bringing the professionalism, he's bringing the bare minimum you need to bring every game. That's my point. I'm not saying he was A plus. I'm saying that he was the only one, quite possibly the only one. Maybe Bellingham also. Bellingham does this every game, so it's not news. Who again brought the bare minimum you need to bring when you wear the Real Madrid shirt. Plain and simple. I'm hopeful that Real Madrid's efficiency and Mbappe's efficiency in particular will improve against Arsenal, because Real Madrid will need to capitalize on those opportunities in order to advance to the next round. Talking about Arsenal, obviously the game happening on Tuesday, the referee has been named. You have the news on managingmadrid.com. Referee has been named Irfan Pelto. He's a Bosnian referee who has only refereed Real Madrid once in the past. That game was against Leipzig, first leg of the round of 16 a year ago. Real Madrid won that one with that Brahim screamer from outside the box, if you remember that game. Kind of a surprising appointment, since he probably doesn't have the experience to referee a high... I was going to say high intensity. I don't think these two teams, Arsenal and Real Madrid, can be called as extremely intense. They are more finesse than they are intense and physical. But I was expecting maybe a more known and familiar name when we're talking referees for this upcoming game. Again, in terms of injuries, Courtois is expected to be back for this. Hopefully he is back. Although Fran Gonzalez did well in his debut, I thought. So yeah, if Courtois is back, obviously Real Madrid's chances of advancing and succeeding in the competition, in all three competitions, really improve. Courtois is the world's best goalkeeper, and no matter how great Lunin replaced him a year ago, I feel much more comfortable with Courtois between the sticks. That's just a fact for me. So yeah, Courtois is expected to be back according to Ancelotti. Ceballos might actually travel to London, might actually make the squad list, might actually sit on the bench and be available. I would be surprised if he gets more than 15-20 minutes. If he makes the squad list, do not assume that Ancelotti has decided to drop him if he doesn't start. It would not be the case. Ceballos is just not ready to start in a Champions League game as important as this one. Unfortunately, he's just maybe a week away from that happening. A week, 10 days away from that happening. So hopefully he improves his form, he improves his conditioning, he improves the confidence on his body, and he's able to start and play at a high level in their return leg against Arsenal. Ansar asks, what midfield would you go with in Emirates against Arsenal? I would go with Tchouaméni, and well, the Tchouaméni situation is actually, I don't know if I would play him as a center back. I will go with Rudiger and Asensio. I was thinking about the possibility of Rudiger being suspended, but that hasn't been announced yet, and I do not expect that to change anytime soon. So I think Rudiger will be available. So therefore, I would play with, I was going to say Valverde in the midfield. No, I would put Valverde as a right back. So Tchouaméni suspended, right? Ooh, that's a difficult situation. I would go with Valverde as a right back, Rudiger and Asensio as center backs. I cannot play Camavinga as a left back in this one, considering that that Tchouaméni is suspended, and then I'm playing Valverde as a midfielder. So it's going to be not Mendy, sorry, he's also injured. It's going to be Fran Garcia on the left, and it's going to be Camavinga and Modric and Bellingham, yeah. It's just going to be that way. Ancelotti doesn't have many options, considering that Ceballos isn't ready to start just yet. It's going to be Camavinga, Modric, and Bellingham, no question. We'll see how that goes. Camavinga, a big game for Camavinga, who has been also underperforming a little bit. And in the opportunities he's been given to play as a defensive midfielder this year, he's been underperforming. So this is a big game for him coming up. Last bullet point on my show notes is the title race in La Liga. Obviously, this Betis managed to secure a draw against Barcelona last night, which puts Barcelona 4 points clear of Real Madrid in the table. Assuming you beat Barcelona in El Clásico, which is a big if considering the way you're playing, you would still need Barcelona to drop points again. I mean, the situation hasn't changed from yesterday before Real Madrid's loss against Valencia. But yeah, I think La Liga is pretty much, I would say 80% over. Barcelona can, I mean, I'm not saying this Barcelona team gives me a lot of confidence about them being able to win out, even if they lose El Clásico. Like, put El Clásico aside, I'm not entirely sure Barcelona can win out, but the same can be said about Real Madrid, unfortunately. So this is my main issue. Even if Barcelona are going to drop points, I don't expect Real Madrid to capitalize. I think Real Madrid are going to drop points at least one more time in La Liga. I'm not seeing this kind of consistency from Real Madrid this year in La Liga. They are not showing up against La Liga teams on a consistent basis. So this is my main issue. I don't see how Real Madrid are going to win out. That's my main issue about this. I do not expect Barcelona to win out either, but it's not that Real Madrid are going to capitalize on these opportunities very often, in my opinion. We'll see about that. It's not completely over, but odds are that Barcelona have a pretty good handle on the situation. But I would put this as an 80% versus 20% for Barcelona, obviously. That's where I see it. Okay, guys, hoping you like the segment. I actually went for a bit longer than expected. Many talking points, though. I will probably see you on Wednesday morning, earlier than this time now, because it will be on a weekday, for my post-game thoughts on the Arsenal game. I will also be here for the official post-game show with Kian and the guys. Kian is attending the game in London. We'll see. Thanks, Kian. Mohammed, come on, bro. And Kian is attending the game in the Emirates Stadium, and we'll host a post-game show immediately after the game ends on Tuesday. Hoping for a good game and a good performance from Real Madrid. See you guys after that game, and also see you in the second installment of this segment on Wednesday morning. Hoping you like it. And again, even though this is TBD, even though our plan is probably going to be to make this segment for Patreons only, again, this is only TBD, and maybe for the first week and so on. Maybe I'm thinking definitely for Wednesday, we'll also probably have this one free. Joker MVP for sure, Mustafa. Should be that way. Even though we're struggling a lot, should be that way. Anyway, see you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me some talking points on chat as well, and hoping you like this. See you.